Adobe Connect is such a powerful tool, and we're really fortunate to have it integrated within My Franklin. So let's just take a look at some of the general features and see what those look like. So first we're going to access it. We're going to click on the object and then click Meet. That's going to launch the session, and we'll take a look at it and again all the capabilities in general and then the kinds of things you're going to see throughout this course. So let me resize this. You'll notice that you probably will have to do this periodically, and I'm certainly have a smaller screen size than you may have because of my recording. So I've entered the session, and you'll notice kind of out of the box, we already have the ability to choose items to share. We can see the attendees who are going to be in our session. Like you can see, I've got a couple of hosts. If I had presenters and participants, they would be showing in this list as well as being able to chat. And there are lots of capabilities within that chat. And the chat is as simple as typing to this box down here. And because it's set to everyone in the room can see it. So it's something that you probably are familiar with other online meeting tools. And again, being able to see the attendees is also very important in knowing who is logged in and what you're going to see. If I roll over those names, I can also change the capability of that particular user. Like you'll notice when I roll over this one, this is me as the main host. So I can do some other things with that. I can start a private chat. I can request a screen name. I can make a presenter and make participants. Or if I roll over this one, I can simply make that person a presenter or a participant. So I can change what they're able to do. With a lot of student presentations and things like that, that's going to be a really, really important aspect of being able to give students privileges to present and then take them away when it's time to give it to somebody else. So it's a great way to see that. We also have the capability to adjust our speakers, enable microphones, and connect that audio. You can also select which hardware piece you want to use. Sometimes what happens, I know, is when I go into a session, sometimes I pick one and say, oh, that's not working as well as I'd like, and I can choose another one. Well, here in this one, you can actually choose it while you're in the session as opposed to having to leave and go out or go through the audio setup. You can actually do it right here. You can also enable a webcam, and you can select different cameras. So if you have a couple of cameras on your computer, which I actually do, I've got the one that's on my laptop as well as an external. You can choose different ones depending on the purpose. And you can also enable those for participants. So if it's not something you want to have in your class and you don't want them to share their video, you can certainly leave that off. So there's some great capabilities. Another capability, the system allows you to choose whether or not you want students to have the right to speak. And where this might be helpful, especially is in a large session where it's really a lecture or a presentation where you want to just filter everything through chat, you can choose to not turn that on. So under audio, you can enable a single speaker mode, which is more of that walkie-talkie style where everyone has to turn theirs on and off and only one person can speak at a time. There's one way, but you can also enable microphone rights for everyone. Now, once you do that and everyone does activate their mic, it becomes more like a situation where it's a phone bridge, an audio bridge, or a conference call. So everyone can speak at once, which is wonderful when you want to have an active conversation. Sometimes not so good under certain circumstances where you have a barking dog in the background or somebody who, makes lots of noise on their desk. But again, you have the option to change it. You have the option to use those at appropriate times during your session. You even have conference settings, which allow you to, make some adjustments in case you need to do that. Most of the time you will not need to touch that. Just wanted to let you know it's there. You can also manage the layouts, as in what you see on the screen here, what you're sharing, how you're sharing it. You can manage the pods, like the different pods that you want to use. You'll notice you've got lots of different ones. You've got video. You've got video where you've got other videos connecting. You have a chat pod or several chat pods. You can share files, sharing web links, adding polls, Q&A. You can create breakout pods, as well as being able to move and resize them, and you can also manage them. Like you'll notice I've got some that are named something. In addition to that, you also have the ability to come over here on the side panel as a host, and you can create new layouts, or you can simply switch layouts as you go through. So let's say I'm sharing something and I want to switch to a discussion. It just switches it, and it switches it for everyone in the session. So you can go to different activities very quickly. So you might find this is a great way to set things up ahead of time. Maybe each week if your course is different. Maybe you have a meeting or an activity that you're doing with your group and you want to have different things set up. This is one of those, get in and play with it and see what you can do and what you can create. There's just a couple of different versions. You'll notice I moved some things around, but again, it's the seamless move between each one. And as you go through the course, you'll learn how to do this. And again, you'll get the opportunity to try it out yourself. This meeting section also has the ability to start a recording. You can switch to different modes, like this prepare mode lets you switch between these views without actually letting anybody else see you're doing it. And I think that's a wonderful feature because if you need to say, oh, I forgot to set something up, it's okay. You can go into prepare mode and have it be kind of secret to everyone else but the participants. And the participants will not be able to see what you're doing. You can enable presenter areas only where they can get some things set up. You can go into a full screen mode, especially if you're in a conference room where you want the whole screen to be there, you can. And you can also change your role if you want to see, well, what are students seeing right now? You can switch those roles during the session so you can just take a peek at what they're seeing. That certainly helps in having some confidence as your content is showing the way you want it to show. And this record meeting aspect is another wonderful feature that you can name each of those meetings. So if you have a weekly meeting, you can name it week 1 or week 2 or whatever those meetings need to be. You can name them, and they have a lot more meaning that way. You can also add a summary of what's talked about. So that's just a quick view of a lot of the things that are here. As you're probably thinking is, wow, there's so much, I'm going to have so much to learn. And there is, but think about it this way. Out of the box, if you simply get the audio setup going, and you're able to use the chat and share content, what you really have done is do the basics. You can always build upon that as you go through the course and you practice and you build your confidence. So as we wrap up, one thing I'll show you is the share screen and sharing content aspect within the Share Pod. You can share your screen. You can share documents of various types, and those are listed in the course, as well as share a whiteboard where you can do some other items. If you have things that you frequently share that are already loaded to this session, you can access those as well. And I have several things loaded that you'll notice here, so I can quickly access those. So for instance, if I click on that, it'll load up and you can see here it's a PowerPoint file, and I can immediately access my PowerPoint file. I can even set it so I can see this sidebar and know what's actually in it, which is also, again, very helpful, and click through that. So again, as you go through the course, you are going to see how to do all of these things, and you'll be able to start to practice them and gain some confidence in using Adobe Connect and all of the capabilities and possibilities in using this new tool.